My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the UFC 280 fight card, giving you my DraftKings picks and plays. We're going to run through the card. We're going to do it pretty quick, but we're going to talk about who should be in your lineup, who you should probably avoid putting in your lineup, and where there's some spots to make some very real money. And speaking of money, for just $10 a month, you have full access to our premium membership portal, which includes a DraftKings optimizer. So we have a tool that allows you to click a few buttons and build a lineup. It is pre-populated right now with every fighter, their projected score earnings, and their projected ownership, literally giving you everything you need to make a winning lineup. You can make up to 150 lineups. That plus all of our bets, player rankings, ownerships, everything else you could ever want is only $10 a month. All you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. $10 a month gets you everything you could ever need. WeWantPicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. So let's jump into this card. Normally, we're going to start at the bottom. We'll work our way to the top. Couple canceled fights. Normally, I spend a good amount of time on each one of these fights, but the reality is we have 3 videos on this channel already breaking down every single fighter, what we think is going to happen. So this I'm going to tailor to more specifically DraftKings. So opening the card, we got Karol Rosa versus Lina Länsberg. Karol Rosa is the more well-rounded fighter. Probably wins this fight, and at $9,200 should not be in your lineup. I don't see a finish here. She's not worth that money. Lina Länsberg, former world champion Muay Thai fighter. That's how she fights. If she can get you in a clinch, she will slow this fight down, drag it out, and win this fight. Karol Rosa is going to win, but not $9,200 worth. She's not going to score those points. Makhachev should be in your lineup. Absolutely. I get it. He's $9,600. 12 takedowns in his last fight. The fight before that, Cody Durden, who's a nasty wrestler, initiated a takedown, got submitted. So frankly, Muhammad Makhachev should absolutely be in your lineup. He's fighting Malcolm Gordon. Malcolm Gordon's a BJJ black belt. He's actually a decent fighter, but he's just going to be way outmatched here. Malcolm Gordon has literally never defended a single takedown in the UFC, and that's not going to change here. Armen Petrosyan, AJ Dobson. Armen Petrosyan is $9,100. That's why it's a little tricky, but he's a very good striker with a phenomenal get-up game. You take him down, he'll scramble back to his feet. He will get back up. He's fighting AJ Dobson. AJ Dobson's dangerous. He's got power in his hands. He can wrestle if he needs to. He's well-rounded. He's dangerous. In this matchup, I think Armen Petrosyan wins. But AJ Dobson is probably a decent value at $7,100. I'm not quite sure what to do there because I really do think Petrosyan wins, and Petrosyan could potentially win by stoppage. But $9,100, this card is loaded with 9,000 plus favorites. I will probably avoid that fight. Abu Nurmagomedov versus Gadzi Gajayev. Listen, Abu's the favorite. He's a very good fighter. He's talented everywhere. He can strike. He can grapple, mostly grapple. But he's a pretty talented guy. But Gadzi Omar Jagayev, he's coming off of that loss to Caio Borralho. Get it? He was sort of manhandled in the grappling. But that was at 185 pounds. He's coming down to 170. He does have some power in his hands. He's got decent takedown defense other than, this last fight. And frankly, he looked pretty good on the scales, and that was going to be my big question is what did he look like on the scales? He looked good. I like Omar, $7,500, probably be in my lineup. You need underdogs, and between him and we got another big underdog later, I think you should be good. So I like Omar in DraftKings in your lineup. Nikita Krylov, Volkan Ozdemir. People love Nikita Krylov. I'll be honest with you, I like Volkan in this fight, but I do understand the other side, the Nikita side. Betting-wise, he's a 2-1 favorite. DraftKings-wise, $8,600. That's not that outrageous. So if you think Nikita is faster and more dynamic, then you should probably put him in your lineup. Personally, I think Volkan Ozdemir wins the fight. I think he's got more power in his hands. I think he's a little more controlled, and I think he's had the higher, the better schedule, right? He beat Rasik. Latifi, it's a decent win just because Latifi's a good wrestler. He's beat Paul Craig, who Nikita lost to, but that was just fight IQ. I think Volkan wins this fight. I don't think I trust him enough at $7,600 though, so I'll probably avoid that. Then we got Caio Borralho versus Mahmoud Muradov. This is an interesting fight because I think Caio Borralho dominates. We have seen him do whatever he wants to people. We've seen the takedowns. We've seen the control time. Look at the control time here. That fight against Omar Gajayev, he had 1 takedown and 1 reversal for 10 minutes of control time. 4 takedowns against Petrosian. The dude puts up some solid points. He's fighting Mahmoud Muradov, who was taken down by Gerald Meerschaert 3 times. And the conventional wisdom said if Gerald Meerschaert's taken him down 3 times, so is Kyle Barallo. Here's my couple of concerns. 1, Mahmoud looked freaking amazing in the weigh-ins. Amazing in the weigh-ins. So that is a little bit concerning. And 2, Kyle is almost too good to be true. Like, he's so freaking good, beating everybody. He's almost too good to be true. I'm still going to ride that train. He will be in my DraftKings lineup, and I have money bets on him as well. But it almost feels like he's going to be the parlay buster this week. That is not based off anything other than, this is too good to be true. But, for now, I'm going to trust him. Then we got Sean Brady versus Bilal Muhammad. I'm not going to tell you what to do here other than one of these fighters needs to be in your lineup. One of them. You pick your side. I like Bilal Muhammad because I think he's just going to non-stop wrestle. I don't think he's going to give Sean Brady a chance to initiate his own wrestling. But if Sean Brady gets his wrestling going, he's going to score 1,000,000 points. If Bilal Muhammad gets his going, he's going to score 1,000,000 points. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Bilal Muhammad on a little bit of a streak there. So has Sean Brady. Like, both of these guys are doing things. Obviously, Bilal was smoked against Leon Edwards before the eye poke. But this guy, 7 takedowns, 5 takedowns. Damian Maia, none because he was smart enough to know he didn't need to do that. But frankly, pick your side. I picked mine. It's Bilal Muhammad. Whoever wins that fight is going to score well over 100 points, and you're getting almost even money here. Manon Farrow, Caitlin Chikagian. Originally, I was not going to put Manon in my lineup, but Caitlin Chikagian missed weight. That honestly was shocking to me because she's a professional, meaning like she takes this very seriously, always does the right things. I was surprised she missed weight. Manon can grapple. Manon hits hard. Manon has the same level of output as Caitlin Chikagian. I originally was going to avoid the $8,900 because I just felt like Caitlin Chikagian she beats everybody that isn't a current or former champion. It's just that simple. Everybody she beats that isn't a current or former champion. And frankly, she wins these close decisions. A lot of people don't think she won the Vivi fight. A lot of people don't think she won the Hebos fight, but she wins those close decisions, and it's possible she steals another decision here. But the weight miss was alarming, and that definitely pushes Manon into some people's lineups. Gamrot should be in your lineup. He's great everywhere. Good hands, phenomenal wrestling, got some power. I mean, he looked amazing against Sarukian. He's fighting Beneil Dariush, who I totally understand is on a 7-fight win streak. I totally understand Beneil Dariush has been in line for a title for a very long time. He's going to be way outmatched here. He's going to be way outmatched. He's not going to out-wrestle Gamrot. He's not going to knock him out with one punch. So I think Gamrot smokes Beneil Dariush. I honestly think it's a beating, and I feel bad for Dariush, who should have fought for a title at some point in the last 2 years. Then we have Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley. Again, I think Petr Yan smokes Sean O'Malley. I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better grappler. I think he's literally better everywhere. The one and only concern is reach, because Sean O'Malley manages that well. But Petr, frankly, is very comfortable with being the shorter fighter. He literally always is. And the other thing is, everybody talks about, Petr Yan takes the first round off. It's only a 3-round fight, not a 5. I think he wins all 3 rounds, so I don't even think that matters. And frankly, Sean O'Malley in this fight against Pedro Munoz lost the first round on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. Lost it. So he took that off. And if he shows up in this fight looking the way he did in his last fight, he's going to lose. If Petr Yan shows up in this fight looking the way he did in his last fight, he'll win. Even though he lost to Aljo in the last fight, that's because he got backpacked. Sean O'Malley's not going to do that. Petr Yan wins this fight, should probably be in some lineups. Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw. I am on the TJ Dillashaw side, and you get him at underdog pricing here in DraftKings. Should be in your lineup. I get it. Aljamain Sterling is a very, very good fighter. He genuinely beat Petr Yan in that last fight. Actually beat him. Didn't have to fake an injury this time. And, what's he going to do, though? He's going to out-wrestle Division I wrestler TJ Dillashaw. Did you know TJ Dillashaw has only been taken down in the UFC by 2 people? One was a fluke. It doesn't even count. That guy's not even in the UFC anymore. Dominic Cruz is the only person to ever take TJ Dillashaw down in the UFC for the most part. And all of a sudden, Aljamain Sterling is going to do it whenever he wants to. I don't see it happening. TJ has proven to be a dog. He blew his knee out in the 2nd round of that Corey Sandhagen fight. And what did he do? He stayed in that fight, put his weight on his knees, and just kept coming, kept fighting. Face was a mess. Didn't stop him from coming forward, winning that fight, throwing big, 110 points. TJ Dillashaw wins this fight. It's just that simple. And then main event, Islam Makhachev taking on Charles Oliveira for the vacant title. I think Islam wins this fight. I think he wins this fight. $8,400. How could you not have him? I totally understand. Frankly, the reason Islam wins this fight, his wrestling is so good, so dominant. His submission defense is going to be good enough to avoid that. I don't see him getting knocked out because he's going to be shooting immediately. And I don't see him getting submitted because his takedown defense is phenomenal. Okay, so I think Islam wins this fight. I fully recognize how dangerous and how well-rounded Charles Oliveira is. We know his hands are incredible. We know his jiu-jitsu is incredible. He doesn't have the best takedown defense, but he has very good takedown offense, which he could, in theory, use. If Charles Oliveira stops Islam Makhachev, nobody's surprised. That's what this guy does. He's an assassin. But I just think the one thing that Islam does is just so incredibly good that it's not going to matter. I think the wrestling from Islam will neutralize the strikes, will neutralize the grappling, and that's just what it's going to be. Hugging Charles Oliveira on the ground for 25 minutes. Frankly, Islam's going to be in my lineup at $8,400. He's a 2-to-1 favorite, and he's not priced that way. If you have Charles Oliveira in your lineup at $7,800, I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell you that's a bad play. Look what the dude's doing. Submission, decision, TKO, submission. Look at the points he's putting up in these fights. I get it. I understand he's incredibly dangerous. And as of this minute right now, I agree with everybody that says he's the best lightweight of all time. I agree with that. Look what he's done. Look at this win streak. Look at who he's beaten, how he's beaten them, what he's done. But this fight here, Lee took him down several times. Eventually was submitted, but Islam, I don't see getting submitted. So I think Islam gets this done. $8,400. He will be in my lineup. The one thing that worries me here, outside of how dangerous Charles is we heard that Islam had a horrific weight cut, like ridiculously bad, to the point where they were worried the fight was going to be canceled. That could affect his cardio. That could be a problem. Or for all we know, that's what every Islam weight cut is. We just don't hear about it because it's never been at this scale before. I'm not sure, but I like Islam. $8,400. He will be in my lineup. Guys, hopefully you found this useful, helpful, valuable. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and what your DraftKings lineup is going to look like. And don't forget, become a premium member. It's $10 a month. $10 a month. You get the optimizer. You could ignore everything I've ever said, not use anything other than the optimizer, and it's worth $10 a month. It builds lineups for you with a couple of clicks, and it's pre-populated right now, this minute, with projected ownership, projected scoring, their names, and everything else you need to build that lineup with a couple of clicks. WeWantPicks.com at the top. Click become a member, and don't forget to join Jacob's main card live stream on Saturday afternoon.